Today let's take this gorgeous but unusual colour combination of wine and gold and make some beautiful towels. Let's get started. When I chose the theme for this year's towels, I chose foods and foods that go together. And I love doing this because it really challenges me on how to put colours together that I normally wouldn't choose, and in a way that looks pretty and works. So wine and cheese are delicious, but it was a little bit of a challenge for me because the two colours, whilst pretty, they're both very strong colours. So it challenged me on how to put them together in a way that makes them look, not muddy or doesn't clash. For me, I decided that the yellow was going to be the dominant colour and the wine colour as an accent. If you're Australian, then you will know about school uniform colours. In Australia, for those who aren't, we have uniforms that all school kids need to wear. And these definitely had the vibe of school uniform colours for me, but the resulting towels turned out absolutely stunning and I'm thrilled. Just a tip, if you get the chance to buy colour cards, I recommend it, especially if you buy one particular brand all the time like I do, because once you've got a part of a cone in your stash, sometimes it's really hard to distinguish what colour they actually are. So using the colour cards is really a great idea to make sure that you've got the colours that you wanted, what name they are, and if you need to buy more, you know which one it is. So this one, of course, is the wine colour, but I wasn't really sure until I used the cards. After securing the pegs to one end of my dining table and my loom to the other end of my dining table, I just secured the heddle to the apron rod, and I do this to help with tension. It just makes things a little bit easier and keeps the apron rod steady as I warp. I centered for a weaving width of 50 centimeters, which is 19 3/4 inches, and this makes a nice generous towel. As always, it's a personal preference. You can make them wider and longer if you wish, or shorter and less wide. As always, it's up to you. For this project, we'll be warping through the slots only, and I will be using a pickup stick in the pattern because we will be weaving a window pane. When warping, we're warping one wine followed by 5 golds, and it's that simple. So 1 wine, 5 golds, 1 wine, 5 golds, etc. until you reach the end. Now this one ended up being a little bit messy on the end. If this was a paid pattern, then I would tidy up the ends and make sure that there is a nice border and things like that. But this should be sufficient enough to give you an idea on how to warp and weave a window pane using a little bit of colour and weave as an accent. As always, we need to make sure that our yarn goes under the back beam. Oh dear, never mind. I did manage to fix that. I chose to just carry the wine colour across every 6th slot instead of ending it and tying it back on again. You can choose to do whichever way you feel is right for you. If you carry the wine across like I'm doing, it will make the end of the weaving a little bit more trickier, but I'm comfortable with that, and I think everyone just needs to make their own choice on whether they want to carry the yarn across or end off and start again for each wine colour. Warping was super easy. It took under an hour, and I just ended off my ends, unhooked my heddle from the apron rod and unhooked the loom from the table. I just used brown paper as my warp separator, which is just shopping bags that I've cut up and repurposed. And because the warp is the length of my dining table, I wind towards the pegs, making sure I pull back so I've got nice tight tension all the way to the end. And now we're done, and it's time to start threading. Once the loom was on my stand, I just secured each little bundle with a very loose overhand knot. This just protects the weaving in case the heddle falls off whilst I'm threading, which has happened to me many times. You can also change your heddle to the back position to do your threading, and that will help as well. Either way, you just want to make sure that your heddle is secure whilst you're threading. Threading is relatively easy. You do need to split your doubled wine threads and one set of your doubled yellowed threads in each set. So I've just put this little diagram here to help. We want to make sure that the wine threads are only in the slots. So with the diagram, you can see that down the bottom is the slots and at the top is the holes. So you want one wine in a slot and then gold in the hole, slot, hole, and that's where you need to split that doubled yellow, and then pop that second wine thread in the slot, and that's the entire sequence. We just need to follow that across the entire warp, and that's it. This will make the pickup pattern really, really easy because we will be doing the window pane with one pickup stick. So the pickup stick will be picking up just the wine colours, and then we'll be doing warp and weft floats to create the window pane effect. So this is what it's looking like now that I've just done that first sequence. So wine, 5 golds, and then a wine. I'll show you a little bit closer now that I've done a few of the sequences. So here you can see what it's looking like with all of the wines in the slots and then 5 golds in between each wine. Once the threading was finished, I just grabbed 8 threads, 4 from the slots, 4 from the holes, and then tied a knot down the bottom of each bundle, trying to keep the knots all in the same place across the warp. Then I used the lash on technique to lash the bundles to the apron rod. Once I'd tightened everything up, I checked the tension by strumming the warp behind the heddle just to pick up any slack areas that I might want to fix, and then I tied off the scrap yarn and was ready to spread the warp. Spreading the warp is really simple for me. I just do 3 picks of scrap yarn without beating. So heddle up, throw a pick of scrap yarn, heddle down, throw a pick of scrap yarn, heddle up, throw a pick of scrap yarn, and then beat all of those 3 picks down together to the knots, making sure that there's a nice straight line to start my weaving on down the bottom. Then I just repeat the entire process. So 3 more picks of scrap yarn without beating, and then beat that second lot down to the first, making sure that there's a nice straight line down the bottom, and that's all I need to do to spread my warp. Now it's time to place the pickup stick. We only have to place it once and it stays there for the entirety of the weave, which is great. First, pop your heddle in the down position. This gets all of the hole threads out of the way so that we can concentrate on the slot threads only. And this is super simple. We're just going to pick up the wine coloured threads. That's it. So go through with your pickup stick, pick up all your wine coloured threads, and that's it. Your pickup stick is in place and it stays there for the entirety of the weave. So here I'm just putting my cardboard tubes over the knots to protect the weaving. But with the weaving, you can see the first 3 or 4 inches I was just playing around with sequences to see what would work best to get a nice even square. So ignore the first few inches. It did take me a few goes to get it right. Then it gave me the effect that I wanted. So that's just a couple of inches at the top. Let me show you a little bit closer. You can see here we've got the warp floats and the weft floats, and they're anchored down in the corner of each square. So let me take you through that sequence now. So the first weft pick of the sequence is just a plain upshed. We're going to use gold for this one, and it's just a normal upshed, and pass your gold weft through, beat, and then put your heddle into the neutral position. With your heddle in the neutral, the second weft pick, pop your pickup stick on edge, and we're going to throw this pick in the wine colour. This is the only pick in the wine colour, so that makes it easier to remember. This one will place your weft floats. The third weft pick in the sequence is a plain upshed in gold. Just make sure also that you're locking in your colour changes on your selvage as well. The fourth pick in the series is a plain downshed in gold. The fifth pick, we put our heddle in the up position and we slide our stick forward to the heddle. This lifts up those wine threads out of the way of the pick and creates our weft floats. We need to do a few of these so that we keep it out of the way until we want it locked down again. The sixth weft pick in the series is a plain downshed in gold. The seventh weft pick is up, heddle in the up position and slide that stick forward again, and we're doing this one in gold. And the final weft pick in the sequence is a plain downshed in gold. And that's it. So 8 steps, but really 8 steps that are quite easy to remember and get into a rhythm of. So it's not as hard as what you might think in doing this kind of sequence. And the effect it brings is absolutely amazing. So here I'm just going to take you through the sequence again from a top-down angle, and just so that you can get a little bit of an idea on how it looks from the top down. And then I'll just shut up now so that you can watch it through without me rambling on. Here I just wanted to show you a close-up of what it actually does. So here is your warp floats, and you can see that by sliding the pickup stick in the up shed, gets these out of the way so that you can basically weave underneath, your plain weave underneath, and then when you're ready, to lock them down, you just do your plain up shed and that's what locks it down into position. So here are your floats, and this is the what the pickup stick on the edge does for your weft floats. And that's what creates these little squares and the window pane effect. So pretty. When the first towel hit 31 inches or 79 centimeters, I did about 1.5 inches or so of plain weave before it got to 31 inches, just for the hem. On the second towel, I decided to do something a little bit different. I did stripes of 5 weft picks in wine, followed by a row of window pane, just to give it a little bit of interest on the second towel. When it hit almost 31 inches, I took out the pickup stick because it had done its job, and then did another 1.5 inches or so of plain weave, followed by a couple of picks of scrap yarn. Then I was able to cut the weaving from the loom. I like to cut just in small bunches and knot them one at a time. You can absolutely cut the whole thing from the loom and then knot if you want. And this is what it's looking like straight off the loom. I just wanted to quickly show you a close-up of the front and back of each towel. Have a look at this. It's just these cute little star shapes on the back of the first towel. The second towel, this is before wet finishing of course, have a look at that on the back. I love how both sides of weaving can sometimes look completely different in a pattern. I wet finished these in my washing machine with a little bit of dish soap just to get rid of any machine oils from the making of the yarn, and then pop them straight through the dryer. I gave them a really good iron and trimmed off all the tails. Doesn't it just look beautiful? I'm actually in two minds at this stage which side of the weaving I actually like the best. They feel soft and squishy and just so lovely. I love them both. To separate the towels without everything unraveling, I'm just zigzagging at the beginning and either side of the scrap yarn that I put to separate the first and the second towel, and also I'll zigzag at the very end as well. Once they're all zigzagged on my machine, I'll be able to comfortably cut them apart without having to worry about anything unraveling or coming apart. If you don't have a machine, you can secure the weaving with a whip stitch and just use a hand stitch to hem your towels as well. You don't necessarily need a machine, but it certainly makes things easier. I'm using these little handmade tags I got from Amazon, and I'm securing them into the hem. And to hem, I'm just folding up the zigzagged edge twice and then using a straight stitch on my machine to secure them all down. Thank you as always for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. This would really help my channel. Super thanks are also available. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and please stay tuned for the reveal.